those words, I'll hand it over to you, Noel.
Okay, hello everybody. So Joe, who's our partner, or we're a partner with Nokia. Joe, maybe you can just start off by talking about the partnership.
Well, I think today has been an exciting day for us, but one of the most exciting things is announcing our partnership with Monster and the Purity collection of headsets, my favorite white ones, like you're wearing there. One of the things that led to our partnership is really how Monster has focused on consumer experience as opposed to just pure technology. So I thought maybe I'd ask you the first question about how you have actually done that.
Well, music has been such an important part of all of our lives, and I think today, to be competitive and advance in the marketplace, you really have to have music. And with mixed radio and all the great things that are in the Nokia phone, I thought it was just fitting that with our leadership in headphones and really having designed some of the world's best headphones, and you see the kids wearing them as part of fashion, so it's not just about the music or the sound, it's about the whole lifestyle and fashion part of it. And such a great phone, that set of phones that we introduced today with Nokia, it is part of fashion. So we believe that the headphones should be part of the phone itself, so you have an ensemble, so to speak, to complete that customer experience with music. So we're very, very happy to be part of this collaboration with you.
Well, us too. So, and there's many great things to see from our partnership coming in the future as well.
That's great.
So I think it's a good example when you talk about music of how what consumers do and the experiences that they love when they're using a mobile device is quite different than the experience they have when they go into retail to perhaps renew their contract, get a new device, or just buy a device. And what I mean by that is, if you look at why consumers say they purchase a smartphone, first thing they want is the ability to access the internet, because after all, that's what a smartphone is. Then they want a good camera, they want quality, they want ease of use. When they go into a retail environment, what are they bombarded with? They're bombarded with processors, number of processors, gigahertz of processors, they're bombarded with megapixels, etc. So certainly more sounds better, but it's not quite clear how these technologies actually benefit a consumer. Because then if you look at what consumers actually do, the number one thing they spend their time on is music, which is why the whole music experience is so important. And then the second thing they spend their time on is taking photos. But that's interesting because the third thing they spend most of their time on is social media, and then email, and then chat. And I think we all recognize how social media has changed. It used to be on Facebook that you updated your status, and now what you do is you update the latest photo you've taken. It's become more of a photo gallery as part of the social fabric of your life. So the fact that the consumer is going in to buy, they want a camera, really means they want to have a fabulous social media experience. So I think that this is the topic that I wanted to really talk about today, is the importance of consumer experience as opposed to simply pure technology.
Well, the interaction with the phone, and what I really like about Stephen's presentation today was this whole idea of funner.
Yeah.
And I think what Nokia has endeavored to do, and as I believe accomplished, was make it better. There's smartphones out there that do music, that does social media, but to integrate into one cohesive, easier to use package and to make it fun. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think today one of the best examples was mixed radio, which really solves for a lot of consumers the problem. They love to use music. That's the number one thing that they're doing, as I said. but there's a lot of frustration that comes with it. So it's hard to get to the fun of actually listening to music, the memories that music evokes, the emotion that music evokes. So by introducing mixed radio, we make it super simple, that you can stream, you can download and move offline tracks that you want to listen to later. And there is no subscription, there is no sign-on, there are no cables that you have to deal with to be able to get music on your device.
Well, one of the things that I noticed that really struck me personally as a avid music listener, I have a choice of different phones out there. And, one is I buy to own, to put it on my phone, and the other one is subscription or streaming. But the fact that you've combined both is just amazing. You want to talk about that bit of experience for the consumer?
Well, I think combining great hardware with great experiences is obviously fundamental to what we're doing. And to take it one step further, one of the things that Kevin did not talk about today is one of the most amazing parts of the music experience is live music. And so in the Nokia Music Tile, you will also find a gig finder so that you can actually see, as a result of the phone knowing your location, so great hardware that lets you know your location, you can see what gigs are around you within a few meters, a few miles, etc., what time they are, etc. You can then buy a ticket to go see that gig. You can then get directions to how to get to that gig. And then finally, you can actually navigate directly to the gig. And the important thing is that you never had to leave the gig finder in order to do all of that. It was all completely integrated, so a seamless experience. And that's one of the real benefits that the Windows Phone UI really provides.
Oh, okay, so I get it, So I got mixed radio. That's picking tracks that I like and really gets to know my DNA. Okay, now if I really like it, I push the button and I can own it. And if I really like the artist, I can find the location of where they're playing nearby.
Absolutely.
All in one phone.
All in one phone, all in one place, in one tile, all in one experience.
That's fabulous. What an addition to music, and what a boost to music.
And I think, maybe to talk about other experiences that consumers are also interested in, we have a little video where we went out and talked to consumers, and so maybe let's play that video now,
yeah, right,
and then
great.
we can take it a little bit further.
The most important thing in my life is happiness. To be happy and be very, very rich. Rich in experience, not with money. And that happens only when I interact with people.
The smartphone makes your life more vivid and more convenient, and the most important, makes you feel that you are connected with the people.
If you become generic, you're easily replaceable. But if you stick to your vision, that's your own. Nobody else can create that vision.
When you're working on skin, the effect you get is so amazing. It's very addictive for an artist. When I'm tattooing, I get completely engrossed in it. My focus is always on the needle.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I stay in the office, and Thursday, Friday, I just go to meet my customers.
I definitely maximize my day. I'm always on the move, always sending out emails, sending out updates, constantly being in touch. Then when I see something extremely exciting and interesting, I just snap it up and send it straight to my client.
It is just like you are with your friend. You can see what they are doing on their website. What they eat, they will put the pictures. Where they go, they will take the pictures.
The minute my work goes up on Facebook, I get a lot of comments. It really motivates me to go further and do better work. It's like a showcase for me.
Family and friends, that's what's important. Being connected and still showing that you care and love for them.
I can have all the information when I don't have the laptop. The smartphone, it's more efficient.
I love having my phone near me. It just gives everyone a bit more freedom. Every morning, one of the first things I do is check my phone, see what the weather's going to be, see if I've got any emails from my friends and family. My life is enhanced having my phone near me.
Smartphone really helps you being connected with so many different people all around the world, experiencing what they're experiencing. It's an extension to your senses.
So, the interesting thing is you didn't hear anybody talk about, how many cores they had in a smartphone, or how many cores they wanted in their smartphone, or how many gigahertz, or that kind of thing. They talk about, kind of from their heart, the experience that they get from a smartphone. And that's what technology has to enhance. It has to enhance the experience for consumers to love a product.
Now, one of the things I noticed is this whole aspect of photography and taking great pictures. And I've always been impressed with, the Nokia phones, how great the pictures are, but you've enhanced that even more.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mentioned earlier that the number 3 things people do is, with their smartphone, is actually participate in social media. And the truth is that people want to be able to take great pictures where they are living their life. So if you're in this environment and you wanted to post a picture to Twitter you want to be able to take a great picture, which means in this environment, having lots of megapixels isn't going to help you. What you need is the low light capability of a camera. So again, focusing on how consumers can take great pictures, as part of their everyday adventures, wherever they are, and then share those with the rest of the world, is the experience that we want to bring. So our focus is less on, absolute greatest number of megapixels, and more about what is the overall capability and what kind of experience that we can deliver.
That's great. Now, not much has been spoken about the video capabilities, but I imagine the low light sensitivity, the lighting, that also applies to video too, doesn't it?
Well, of course. I mean, people want to capture the moments in their life, those memories that they want to live on forever. So equally, being able to take great video in low light conditions are important, and that's what it's really all about.
That's fabulous. So, Joe, maybe I can take a little second and talk about the music experience from the musician standpoint.
Sure.
Okay, so, I work a lot with musicians. I'm a recording engineer, producer myself, and that's how I got into the business. But, I've worked with Gaga and Dre and Diddy and all these folks, and then we sit in the studio, and you can't imagine the amount of hours that they devote to one little drum track or one keyboard or the mixing. And sometimes it takes weeks, months, and sometimes years, probably years, to get the final recording.
Yeah.
And then one listens to it on a poor headphone. And nobody likes that experience. So, I think one of the goals of our partnership is when somebody uses a Nokia phone, hopefully they use one of the Purity headphones that really brings out all the nuances that the artists and the producers and engineers intend you to hear. And it's not just about bass and highs, it's about balance, it's about frequency spectrum. So hopefully we can bring that experience to all the users of a Nokia phone.
I think that's a great example, and absolutely, I think that's a key experience, and you can see outside how excited people are in being able to experience the headphones that you have created for us in combination with the device and the music capability that we have. But I'd also like to offer an example from another industry, how also technology progresses perhaps through competition in order to deliver even greater consumer experience. So if I look at the gaming industry, and at one point in time, Sony PlayStation was all the rage, and then Microsoft came out with Xbox, and then Xbox 360, really a fantastic competitor. But the way you thought about gaming, and consumers who did gaming were, you know, young guys sitting in the living room or sitting in room with friends, you know, gaming with a controller. And then Nintendo wanted to expand that experience to include families. So they came up with the Wii. And so using, you know, the handheld part of the device, all of a sudden you could play games with your family, and gaming became something you started to do in the living room with the rest of your family. But then Microsoft took it one step further and introduced Kinect, which is really expanded, you know, the kind of 3D gaming that you can do in your home. And every single step has been, you know, a dramatic improvement in the experience of gaming through the use of new technologies. And I think that's that has to be the future, because as we get to a point where, you know, we have display resolutions that are beyond what the human eye can see, as we have, again, you know, megapixels, capability to have cameras in a device that have huge numbers of megapixels, and you have multiple cores, all of those things have to go towards creating something special, something that's unique, that a consumer never knew they could do, and just completely enhances what they love to do.
Well, one of the things I noticed about using the really high-definition screen you folks have developed, it's really an immersion, you know, whether it's games or movies or photos. I really get involved, and I really feel like I'm watching a high-def TV held in my hands.
Yeah.
So I feel part of that action.
Well, and I think if you look at the Nokia Lumia 800 and beautiful AMOLED display that gives you that high definition, that high luminosity and clarity, but also the fact that we took all the air out between the display and the glass. So you really feel like you are on top of the UI and that you're actually touching it. So.
Well, the slimness is phenomenal, but maybe that leads to kind of my last thought anyway, is the whole fashion aspect of the phone and maybe the headphones together. You got any thoughts on?
Well, I think objects are a part of how people define themselves. They are badges that people wear to express their personality. You know, and many people talk about, you know, the commoditization of physical design. Personally, I believe there's lots of innovation left in physical design, as we've seen today. And being able to combine that with the whole physical experience, taking that to headsets, making the whole thing work together so that people can actually use these devices, not just for the function of being on the internet or what they do with smartphones, but also as part of who they are.
Well, I think if a device not only performs well, it makes you feel good while you're using it, makes you look good while you're using it, and that's a whole complete experience.
Absolutely. So maybe we should take some questions in the time we have left.
All right, great.
Wonderful. So maybe I can direct the traffic, and while you're thinking about your questions, I have one, and this is for Joe. So we talked about life-enhancing experiences, and obviously one of the big things that we've done in our change of strategy has been related to the move to utilize the Windows Phone platform. What's the one unique thing that you believe is the life-enhancing thing in Windows Phone from your perspective?
I think it's that the UI is just so much easier. Everything is right there where you need it. When I go to the people tile, I have my contacts, I have the feeds from my friends, I have groups, I have my family, I have my closest mates, and I can see everything that they're doing. I can communicate with them, I can chat with them. I don't, you know, it's all right there. Same for pictures, same for all the key experiences. It's, you know, this is not a consumer word, but the integrated nature of the UI is what makes it special, and which is why when consumers use it, they absolutely love it. And it is extremely differentiating versus the other app-centric UIs that are out there.
Good. Do we have any questions from the audience? We have 2 microphones here, so if you raise your hand, there's an opportunity to ask questions. Okay,
There's a question.
Oh, there.
Hi, Eric Morner, Mobile Magazine in Sweden. Is there a way to find the Nokia DNA in the Windows Phone user interface, do you think?
Well, I think, so first of all, there is Nokia-ness in the user interface because all of our brand elements are in the user interface. But I think that one of the real consistencies, and I think you'll hear Albert and Marco talk about this a little bit later in the agenda for today, is part of the design ethos of Nokia is thinking about heads up. You know, ensuring that we can live our lives in a way that we can engage and enjoy the people around us and not just be completely focused on the device and how intense you have to be with it to get the information you want. And I think the live tiles are a great exemplification of that kind of heads-up design ethos. So I think that's you know what I would say is probably where the two really come together. There's a question over here.
Congratulations, first of all, over the first Windows phones that you're launching. My name is Tanja Piha, and I come from TeliaSonera, Finland.
Yes.
And my question to you is that why would our customers who have been really loyal to Nokia, especially in Finland, choose your smartphone over the different smartphones on the Windows Phone platform from HTC and Samsung?
Well, I think there's a few different reasons. First of all, because they love the design. I think when you look at what's happening in smartphones these days, it's a sea of sameness. A lot of black slabs, and many of you may love them, and that's great. But there's room for innovation in design, and I think with the Lumia 800, you certainly see that in how that device feels in your hand, and plus color. The absence of color in the smartphone landscape is a huge opportunity. So and yes, I expect to sell more black than anything else, but I do know that there will be demand for color and that it will attract consumers to the offering, even if they might ultimately decide that they're going to buy black. And that's, you see the color story coming through the Nokia Lumia 800 and 710, as well as our headset story. And I think, as Noel accurately said, you know, devices are fashion. You know, there is the opportunity, and I think that's one of the key differentiators. Beyond that, I think the value packed into the Lumia offering is significant and differentiating. We talked about turn-by-turn navigation. We talked about mixed radio and Gig Finder. Certainly, you can download applications that offer streaming music, but to get everything that we've put into mixed radio, you would have to pay a monthly subscription. And you don't have to do that here. So that's one of the reasons why one of our key challenges is educating retail about what is in the total offer and everything that's there, so that they're in a position to be ambassadors to sell the great experience that these devices are. Yes.
I was just wondering if you could, well, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Jeremy Locke from Sharp.
Hi, Jeremy.
And I was just interested, you mentioned about resolution, and particularly screen resolution. I think the Lumia series, the resolution isn't particularly high in comparison to some of the smartphones on the market at the moment. So I was just interested to know whether, or what Nokia's roadmap was for increasing that, and also then the challenges that that will face in terms of battery life.
Right. Well, so certainly the resolution of the Lumia products is wide VGA, which is not the highest resolution on the marketplace, but I would also say go look at the Nokia Lumia 800. It is a phenomenally bright and luminous product based on the implementation of the display like I described before. We have a roadmap for the future in terms of display resolutions. I'm not going to talk specifically about that today, but you raised the important point, which is battery performance, because that's the benefit of greater screen resolution, greater processing, often comes at the cost of the battery performance of a device. So a big part of what we've worked on previous platforms is low power performance. That's something that we're going to be focusing on for future devices that you'll see from us as well. Question?
Front.
Okay.
Hi, Trevor Davis from Nokia Conversations. I just wanted to ask you about the green credentials of the new range, because we haven't heard a lot about that today, but we do know that Nokia has the most eco-friendly phones out there.
Right. So, as you're probably familiar, the Nokia 700 is the most sustainable product in terms of our use of eco-friendly paints as well as other materials. Those are all experiences, technologies and capabilities that we've developed that we will be implementing with our future portfolio. Having said that, we've not taken a step back in sustainability with these devices as well. I mean, in making them sustainable is the focus on low power performance, so they don't draw excess energy, as well as the paints that we use. So while we haven't used the level of biomaterials that we may have in other devices, we certainly will be bringing that capability to the portfolio in the future.
Hi there, how are you doing? Michael House from Mobile News Magazine here in London.
Hi.
In terms of the Windows platform, how much of an advantage and a step up is that going to give you in the business sector compared to traditional players like BlackBerry, who obviously have a very strong grip on that market?
Sure. Well, I think, in terms of, a lot of people have criticized the Windows Phone platform in transitioning from Windows Mobile 6 to Windows Phone has become very consumer-oriented, which is a positive thing. But at the same time, if you look at the productivity applications and the implementation of those applications on Windows Phone, by far better than anyone else. And certainly in the future, you'll see more functionality that are important to large corporations. But for small and medium-sized enterprises, the current offer on Windows Phone is outstanding. And of course, more and more companies are moving to mail for exchange, et cetera. So I think as a enterprise offer, I think the Windows Phone platform is very, very strong. And we cannot forget that people who work are consumers too. They want a consumer-friendly UI, and I think that's behind some of the trends that we've seen recently.
Hey.
Hi.
Henry Kostamovaara from Finland. This is a question to you, Joe, and also to Noel. So I've been looking at different companies and how the design philosophies that they have. And some of the companies are very innovation-oriented. They want to drive the innovation. And some of the others are more open towards open innovation, crowdsourcing, asking from the consumers. So what's your take on this, and how do you see this trend going in the future? So do you think that there will be any change in this?
Do you want to?
Well, I can't speak for Nokia.
Sure.
Okay, but I can say for our innovation in sound quality, you know, we push the envelope. And what I can see here from what Nokia is doing is really pushing the envelope. Sometimes you can ask the questions, but consumers don't know how to answer them because they haven't had the experiences. So I'm all for, you know, taking a chance, you know, once in a while that you push innovation and customers follow.
Yeah. And I think in terms of, you know, from a platform perspective, and you know, perhaps Joe can weigh in on this question, Joe Belfiore, when he gets on the stage next. But I mean, certainly, you know, Windows Phone is not an open platform, but I do believe that the ethos of the Windows Phone team and the way they work with developers is to embrace innovation that comes from the outside. So, you know, maybe not open in the traditional sense, but I do think that they are sourcing innovation from what's happening outside of the four walls of Microsoft.
And I think last question over there.
It's David Archbold from Avago Technologies. The hardware is clearly exceptional. Congratulations to Nokia on that. Two of the biggest challenges would appear to be branding and marketing activities versus the two dominant ecosystems today of Apple and Google, and also how to get enough breadth and density of applications to compete against them. What's Nokia's and Windows' plan to address that?
So in terms of marketing, obviously our approach is to create demand for Lumia and for the Windows Phone experience. And so, you know, we are using the signature asset of Windows Phone, which is the tile, the tiles in order to create interest and demand for to get consumers to use this experience. From a developer's perspective, I completely agree with you that we need to invest and focus in getting creating the depth and breadth of the applications. We are working in partnership, in collaboration with Microsoft, focusing on local markets, which has been our historical strength in terms of creating breadth of applications. As a lot of the developers that we've worked with in the past, which you can see in the developer area. So we're investing behind that, both to make developing for Windows Phone easy, as well as publishing to Windows Phone easy. So I'm quite pleased, actually. If I look at the trajectory of new applications per week, we are trending ahead of our targets for the end of this year. And I think if you compare Windows Phone to other operating systems in their first year, they're doing an outstanding job.
Good. That's a great way to end the discussion. Let's do one round of applause for both of the participants.